Man, Ash keeps telling me that he's fixed that alarm clock, but he clearly hasn't. It's still
The
deafening.
alarm didn't sound too bad. It was a little bit afterwards, which shocked me.
Maybe he has
Wake up
fixed
the
it then.
audience.
It's late. I could do with a wake up. It's fine.
Right, so I better introduce you to chat, guys. So we got Callie again from Robot Republic. You're pretty much a co-host now, aren't you? You're here
That's what I
every
like to
week.
think of myself. Yeah.
And we're joined as well by USOVINNY. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me on. Pleasure to be here. I'm glad I got the time zone right. I wasn't sure if it was accurate, but I'm glad to make sure it was.
Oh yeah, it's late over here. Like, I'm tired now, Billy.
That's why the show only lasts an hour, because it's really late in the UK. I set up a KY Bob said that thing bugs him every time it goes off. Yeah, sorry, Bob. I know it goes off on your show as well. So Bob runs the XBL USA show, which is on 9 p.m. Eastern. I set the show up and it's really hard because it's set it up in UK time, so I have to keep trying to remember what the time difference is. So I've got to set it for 2 o'clock Friday morning to get it to run Thursday at 9 p.m. his time. And one day I'm going to get that wrong and he's going to be sat there wondering where everyone is. Especially when the time zones change.
Yeah, blank face. I find anything time related very, very taxing.
Yeah. But yeah, he's on tonight. He was on, what's it called? Gaming Beyond the Box a couple of nights ago as well, which is pretty cool. I like that podcast. So, first topic, guys. I know we were discussing about it just before, so you might as well jump straight into it. Gran Turismo 7 was shown off yesterday.
Yes.
Hands up, I haven't seen it other than a few clips here and there on Twitter from people, and mostly trolls, but some other people sharing positive things. What's your guys' thoughts on it?
I think if you want to watch it, maybe just mute it and then put on some hardcore music or something to make it a bit more exciting, because it was the boringest show. Like, even if the game looks okay, the guy speaking behind it just didn't have any enthusiasm at all, and it was hard to really be enthusiastic when the presenter isn't like about it at all. Yeah, my thoughts. It looked fine. It looked good in places. Certain bits looked really good. The photo mode that they've got, like vistas or something, isn't it? What's it called? The showroom bit.
Showroom,
yeah, showroom.
Like that. Yeah.
Theater
anyway,
mode,
you can
mode.
like dump your car in front of loads of backdrops, and then it's got like a whole Photoshop of effects you can do on it. But that is the kind of coolest looking bit to me. There's also a museum.
Oh, cool.
You can learn about the history of some of the car companies, which, I mean, hella nerdy, but I quite like that. That's pretty good.
Do you guys remember the old PGR where all your cars would go into, like, it was like a massive museum thing that you would walk around and you could just walk around all the cars and...
No, that's cool.
Everything.
That's Project Gotham Racer, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it must be.
I remember that.
It was like the second or third when they put that in. It was really cool.
For sure I played one of those, and I think it was... No, hang on. I remember playing in a Batmobile-esque looking car, but I'm probably just confusing it because it's got the word Gotham in it, aren't I?
Yeah. This was more like street racing.
Yeah.
Closed circuit street racing. It was really fun. They were really good games.
But yeah,
and they put motorbikes in as well for fun.
So I'm not really into the racing games, so that's why GT doesn't really appeal. I'm not a huge car person at all. Like, it's very vaguely meaningless to me. I like Forza Horizon because of it's very forgiving as far as racing games go. Like, that rewind button just makes it for me. Like, anytime I play a racing game, there's normally one point. There's definitely a point in every race I will crash and then not be able to recover like quick enough, so I will come last. So like having that rewind button in a game actually makes it fun and enjoyable for me.
Yeah, because they've got that rewind in the main series now as well, haven't they? Because I think, I need rewind buttons. Yeah. There's nothing worse than when you're nailing a race for 7-8 laps and you switch off for a second and stack it.
It's so hard to recover. If you end up at the back, you're done, and then you got to replay the entire race. Like, I haven't got time for it.
Mm-hmm. I think you saw more of it than either of us, Vinny. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, so I watched it live and I watched it back in 4K when they posted the video. I think it looks really good. I know I see a lot of people really hyping up the photo mode as usual, but I think as far as GT the series goes, I think this is their strongest comeback since probably GT5. So I'm excited. I used to play the GT series back on PS2. I didn't really get into GT Sport. Didn't really like GT6 either. So I won't get this day one. I'll probably wait for a sale. Not too fond of the $70 price tag, but you know, it is what it is. But I think for people who are car enthusiasts and GT lovers or fans, I think it's a pretty solid entry into the series.
Yeah, I used to love the Gran Turismos, the original ones up back on the PS1.
Yeah.
Me and two of my brothers, we used to just basically buy cars and see who could set the fastest speed record on the oval circuit, and just compete against each other by buying and modding cars and trying to outdo each other. It's such a good game.
They were a lot of fun until Forza came out and then it changed the game.
It really ruined it for me once Forza come out.
So I think this is a very UK reference, but do you remember Fifth Gear?
Yeah,
the TV show, the one that was like on the other channel next to, you know, alongside Top Gear. Like Top Gear is the funny one, and they don't take it quite, you know, unseriously, and that's the Forza where it's actually fun and enjoyable. Whereas Fifth Gear was very much focused on, okay, this is cars, this is just for people who are really into their cars, rather than like having a kind of good time. And that's kind of where I see the balance with like GT and Forza. One's arcadey, just rewinding, like flipping your car over like mountains and such, but and then the other's like a proper racer game, which if you're really into cars is definitely, I can see what the appeal would be.
Oh yeah, it was like Fifth Gear was like the History Channel of car shows.
It's very factual.
Yeah, it was a really weird time because BBC didn't renew Top Gear. Channel 5 got the rights for it, but then they called it Fifth Gear and changed the format. And BBC a few years later were like, well, actually, they're not using the name Top Gear, which means we can go back to using Top Gear. And that's when they rebooted it with Clarkson, Hammond, and what's his name, James May. The best lineup they had, which is excellent. Yeah,
I admit to not having a clue it existed before those three, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it used to be on BBC way back, and it was very serious. Apart from Clarkson, he would piss about, and every other presenter was really serious. But they did it more like how Fifth Gear was laid out. They didn't have a studio audience and stuff. It was just a bit of a weird format when you think about it, because you need an audience to kind of carry it. And those little tasks, they never used to do them. They were very, very serious, just about reviewing cars. So.
Yeah, and that's what like Fifth Gear then was really. Yeah. It's just a boring version. Like if you're not into cars, like I'm not into it at all, but Top Gear and the Grand Tour are still, you know, great watches for me, because they're just fun. And that's what it is with like Forza. It's just a fun game. Like,
my wife's not into cars or racing games, but she likes Top Gear. So
something I did find odd though about the state of play was they didn't really show much third-person perspectives. It was like they maybe showed like 2-second clips. Yeah, and I get it's a sim.
There was a lot of backlash, wasn't there? And then since then they've been hesitant.
I think it's exactly. You know, kind of stuff like a lot of the things they were bragging about on there were the photo modes and the replay where you can watch your race back afterwards, which sounds boring as hell to me. Like to race it and then just to, you know, I guess to look at the graphics, that's kind of it, really, isn't it? But you're not going to watch many of your races back in the replay.
Yeah, I never watch any of my races.
No. What I did think was cool was the technology they were talking about with the you know, mapping out rain clouds, how rain clouds kind of actually work and such. But it just feels really wasted on a game that you can't stop to look at it.
Yeah.
Like I thought a skateboarding game or something would be quite cool if they could implement the same things. You can just stop and have a look, or like what's that Ubisoft every kind of sport game?
Oh,
Riders Republic.
The one that just came out? Yeah, Riders Republic.
Something like that. If they could put the pretty skies and all that like technical effort into that, where you can actually stop and appreciate a view. But yeah, it does seem a bit wasted on a track racer.
I just want to say hi to everyone in chat. We've got KY Bob, Fimber. There was more. We got Muppet, Missing No. Good to see you again. I know you joined us on here a couple of weeks ago. And we've got Riskit for Biscuit. Sorry for the biscuit.
So,
So, either of you guys getting Dying Light 2? That's out tomorrow, isn't it?
I'm not.
No, I've never played the first one. I've
I
got it.
have.
Just
I
never
bought
played
it
it.
recently. I bought it like a few weeks ago in a sale.
Yeah.
And because I can't deal with scary very well. Like unless it's if there's actual peril, but it's not. It's fine. It's actually like you're just going around like smashing zombies with pipes. It's great. So yeah, no, I highly rate it. I'm about like 10-15% through the story of it. But yeah, it's really good. So I would buy Dying Light if I would already say completed this one and didn't have a massive backlog of games to get through that don't cost me a bomb of money kind of thing. So maybe when it's in sale at some point in the future, I'll pick it up.
Or when it's on Game Pass.
If and when, maybe. Yeah. To be honest, Microsoft had a lot of the advertisement rights for that, didn't they?
Yeah, they have.
A lot of the games that they've, like Scarlet Nexus and stuff, have then ended up coming to Game Pass. So it's a possibility, yeah, for sure.
One thing I was watching a Digital Foundry breakdown just to see how the game ran, and they didn't touch on, because the developer said there's 120 FPS modes, but it's called, because there's 3 different modes, and the one mode is 60, but it's meant to be 60 plus. And if you've got a VRR set, it'll boost it to 120, because once you remove the cap, it can get to that 80, 90, where it can be, upscaled to the 120. But they didn't mention it at all. So I know there's a lot of bugs and day one patches coming. Either it's not there, or they kind of oversold it early in their tweets, and it's actually just a locked 60. But
yeah, I'm not too sure. I know I've seen some tweets talking about how Series S is like 30 and 1080, which is. But does you know? Well, you don't know, but like if they have like a performance mode on that to bring, you can't really bring it down from 1080 these days to like something good to make it go 60. But I think I would probably rather it be at 60 and like 780p.
Yeah, from what they showed, it was just that's the only option. Like you go into the options, there's none to cycle through.
From my understanding, the first game came out buggy as hell as well. So
yeah, it's usually with these Polish developed games that a lot of them come out buggy. Like I don't know if you guys have played Kingdom Come Deliverance, one of my favorite games of all time, but that game is like such a buggy mess even to this day. And I don't know if it has to do with like resources or whatnot or deadlines, but it's usually with Polish developments.
Is CD Projekt Red, are they Polish or they're from?
Yeah, they're Polish. I think they are Polish.
They've got a few problems with bugs, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Dying Light 1, though, from my understanding, they've been like releasing content for it, like the first game, like up until fairly recently. Like, so they support their games well after it's finished, selling to
years. Yeah.
So I imagine it'll be same for this. This is going to be a long life game.
Yeah, I actually put in a lot of time into the first title, and I did all the DLCs and whatnot. And I think their last update was like last year, or the right at the end of the year before. Yeah, so they definitely put in a lot of effort into giving their customers content, which is awesome.
Speaking of content, I hope we get another DLC like Hive Busters.
Oh yeah,
I love that. It's so good. So I think Game Pass has made it perfect for the next, maybe not with Gears, but a new franchise where they just launch a small 2-3 hour section every 4 to 6 months or however long it takes to make, and just like remember they used to talk about episodic gaming was going to be the big thing, and other than Telltale games, I don't think that really happened.
Yeah, tell me why and all that kind of stuff. Those guys kind of do it, but I mean Halo, like Infinite's kind of that. Like I envision for the next 10 years we're going to be getting campaign drops, of like new campaigns on the Zeta ring. So, but yeah, Gears Hive Busters, like one of the best looking games I've seen. I mean, Gears 5 was great looking anyway, and it did at least deviate from just walking around in destroyed cities, because that was obviously like with the first one, the whole brown color scheme, everything just being quite dull and horrible. And this new one, though, with Hive Busters, green, lovely. It's very, very vibrant.
Yeah, it turns out the planet of Sarah has tropical islands, not just, like you said, brown and grey.
Yeah.
Doom and gloom.
I I mean, spoilers, but I love also the fact that at the end of the game you're just fighting a giant bird, not like a grub or anything.
Yeah.
Spiritual bird.
Mm. What's I mean, if we're moving on, we'll be moving on to the Bethesda news.
There's Bethesda news. I must have
Not
missed
Bethesda
this.
news. Sorry. You know what
Bungie.
I'm trying to say. That's the word.
Bungie. Yeah. I'll see what do you guys think of it.
It's good. I think. I mean, like, they've said they're not. It's not making exclusives for PlayStation or anything. I imagine why they've got them in is just for the expertise of the live services, as that's what they're planning to kind of move into. But you've still got yourself people who have made Destiny, or Destiny 2 anyway, which is a good quality shooter, and PlayStation does have that lack of shooters. So it's weird. I mean, from my understanding, a lot of people who made Halo aren't in the company anymore, but I'm sure they've still got quite a lot of, they've still probably got a decent amount going there. And Destiny is good. So just weird thinking, like, how weird would it be if this generation PlayStation comes out with the shooter game? Like, the definitive one.
And then Xbox comes out with all the third-person action adventure games.
Add them up. Yeah.
I mean, we are starting to see them. Like Fable will probably be third-person. Avowed will probably be a mix, but Outer Worlds as well.
It's that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, Hellblade 2. That's gonna be
Hellblade 2.
That one looks insane.
Phenomenal. Oh my goodness.
The first game was amazing. I really enjoyed that game, especially when I'm more into. I used to be more into shooters and like racing games and football games, but I think the last couple of years I've definitely broadened my horizons a lot more. Like I dabbled in Shenmue before, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in love. This is the best type of game ever." And then I just didn't play anything like it for years. And these third-person slower games where there's a lot more story and talking and stuff. I think a lot of people mock them, but when you play them, you're like, no, it draws you in. It's really good.
Yeah, they're more. I think the first-person perspective adds more immersion to games as well. Because you can envision yourself as being the character, seeing through their eyes and what's going on. But back to the Bungie news. I thought it was good news. I think it's great news for Sony, especially if they're planning to launch 10 games as a service games in the next, by 2026. I can see why they pushed for the acquisition of Bungie.
Yeah.
Because if anybody knows how to do those type of games, it's Bungie. But I think with the price they paid, it was overpriced. Especially considering the terms. I know a lot of people said, well, it was in talks for months, and like it was before the acquisition deal or Activision deal. But I think the Activision deal is what like kind of fast forwarded that deal to happen quicker instead of going through the negotiation months or more negotiation in like months or whatnot.
Yeah, Bungie have pulled a blinder. They've got 3.6 billion. They can still put their games on whatever platforms they want and remain independent to publish whatever game they want to make.
And they keep the Destiny IP.
Yeah, and they keep the IP. It's crazy.
There's actually nothing negative about the deal for them, really. They just have to good lines. I did see today is like 1.2 of that billion is like for staff retention, meaning the devs should actually get paid, hopefully, not just the top guy. But
hopefully not too much that they all retire. Like you overpay them all, and like, I'm gonna put my feet up now.
Also, just in Fimber saying 70% of the Bungie's Halo team is now on 343, which I guess it's not really that much of the Halo creators.
Yeah,
but still, Destiny 2 is like a good game. I'm to understand. I believe from seeing your tweets, you grind the hell out of that back in the day or something, Vinny.
Oh yeah, but Destiny 1, I used to grind that game a lot when it first released on the 360. Not a lot of people remember that, but when it released on the 360 and I bought it again on Xbox One, I probably put in close to 1,000 hours altogether, did all the raids, got all the exotics, so on and so forth. I didn't like Destiny 2 as much, just felt like overbearing with content and like what to do. I didn't know what to do coming back into it, and there's like a lot more microtransactions as well.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like everything seems like all the cosmetics seem like there's microtransactions behind them, and but yeah, I used to be a big fan of Destiny.
See, my problem with like Destiny 2, I got into it. I loved the initial campaign, you know, when there's those big brute guys in armor have invaded the Earth or whatnot, and you're fighting
Yeah,
on their
yeah,
spaceship. Like, it's awesome. And then I went back to try and play one of the more recent campaigns. It was like on an icy land. I don't know which
oh
it
yeah,
was.
Beyond Light.
But like playing through it, doing fine, it's going well. And then you get to a point where it's just like, okay, we're throwing ourselves against this, and clearly we're not upgraded enough. So we have to actually leave and go and grind to get good enough to proceed with a campaign. And
Yeah.
I hate a campaign that puts a block like a level
Yeah.
block on me. If it's the campaign, it should level me up enough to do the campaign as I play the campaign, not making me go off and interrupt my mission to like go grind some random enemies for a few hours. So that's what I
Yeah,
don't like about that whole grindy service kind of game, and where like Halo, you don't really get better, except in this new one
yeah,
where you do actually have like an upgrade tree, which I wasn't particularly keen on, but yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like with Destiny specifically, like as a service game, live service game, I feel like they don't respect the player's time as well as other games like Sea of Thieves. Like Sea of Thieves, you can hop in whenever, you can jump in on whatever the expansion is, and play it with your friends. There's no like power requirement or grind requirement. You just do what you want to do with your friends, and you play it. But with Destiny 2, it's like, oh well, you want to do a raid with your friends. You guys all have to be the same light level. You guys have to all have certain exotics, and it's just like it's too much. I feel like it doesn't respect my time as a player or even as a consumer.
I also hate that whole like, okay, I'm going to pick up a gun and it's like 2 points more powerful than this gun and just swap out for it. I just want one gun. Just give me the assault rifle from Halo, like with its base power, and just a nice range of them like that works so much better for me.
Yeah, too much loot.
I lost myself to loot playing Outriders because I'm not really a big one for like these looter
You're the
shooter
player that
games.
played Outriders.
Yeah, I kept dropping, unfortunately. So I was playing it with my brothers, and as a group of three, it's really fun. But then it kept dropping them from the game. I had a few days off work, and I was like, I'm just going to plow through it on my own. And it's not a great game. It's but
Yeah.
I had to finish it. I was that far invested, and then it's got the worst ending to a game ever. It's so disappointing. So if you haven't finished it, just stop. Yeah.
Just tell me what happens. Save me ever having to play it.
So you got this villain the whole way through who you
Yeah.
think is going to be the big boss battle, and then right near the end, this other guy turns up who's like really powerful, and you kind of defeat him, and then you go onto this ship, which is so the whole thing is you're meant to be going to find like these resources and stop the storm. And then you fight this guy again, except there's no cover. So if you've built a character like I did who hides in cover, smashes the ground, and then runs out and murders you, you're useless because there's no cover on the boss battle. Like literally, it's just an open area to fight him. And then when you kill this guy, that's the end of the game. Even though he wasn't the bad guy, he just turned up. This guy for the last couple of levels. And then you press a button, these things drop from space, and then everyone from the city you've come from is celebrating, going, he did it. And I'm like, no, his mission was to turn the cloud big wall off. That's still on. You don't know what he's done. You don't know what this stuff is falling from the sky. It's nothing to do with the story. And then this guy who you fought for the second time and you think you've killed is then in the end cutscene with the things falling past him. And I'm like, oh, so he's not dead. It's just shit. It's such a bad ending. It doesn't wrap anything up. So yeah, don't bother. That's my
expecting too much of a dumb shooter, maybe, to actually have a coherent storyline.
Yeah, and there's certain bits of it that are beautiful. Like when you find the old civilizations that have like been wiped out and stuff, the game looks really good. And then there's a few, because it's basically like a horde mode game. You stand still, waves come from 4 directions, you kill them, and then you move to another area. Where hordes come, you clear them out, and then you move to another area. But yeah, my God, like it looked pretty at times, but it's just
quite like
a deflating ending.
the like skills and that. The guy I had was a little teleporty fella.
Yeah.
And like just the whole teleporting behind someone and then shooting them just felt really cool. Like that was quite unique, but I never went back to it. Just nothing really drawed me in.
And now Fimber said there's actually more to do, and there is, because what they did was those things that fell from space is now the thing where you go around because they have super rare loot on, and you do fights to get these things that fell from space to see what's on board. But they announced they're doing more DLC for that game, or more content, where in the recent investor call, but they didn't mention Avengers, which has got a lot of people thinking Avengers is basically just slowly being wrapped up without saying it's being wrapped up, and Outriders is going to be supported further.
Did you play Avengers? Either of you?
I've got it. My daughter loves it, and she's 6, so that tells you about how complicated that game is. Just hit A and X repeatedly, and
yeah, I don't like the gameplay loop much.
Yeah.
It's very repetitive. They could have made a cool Hulk game out of it, but I feel like all the other characters are just like, generally the same concepts with the combat, and it's like the same mobs, and it's just I don't think it's fun.
I got a little way into the story, like a very little way. So running around as not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And like doing sneaking missions and stuff like that with her. But yeah, it's another one I've not gone back to. It didn't seem too bad though. Like people sort of complained of it being, and I guess it's mainly like end game stuff, where it's just repeating the same missions and whatnot. But where I was at was like story, and it seemed okay.
So the campaign's okay. The gameplay's not great, but it's got a decent enough story, and it's a very good looking game for for the time. But then, if you go online with your friends, you're just like in halls and rooms, just hammering A and X and just cornering people, and doing very little damage when you're like, the Hulk, and it's just a little soldier.
Yeah,
yeah, it's bizarre.
I think that's where they messed up with the gameplay too. Is just the difference between you and the enemies wasn't very like.
You don't
it was
feel
very
like
sparse. Yeah, you don't feel like the Walmart Avengers.
Yeah, but like I know they said, we don't want to use the faces because we want to make it more unique, but just use the faces. Like, you've bought the license, just use what they look like in the movie.
Yeah, like it actually did make a difference on that one. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy, I actually think look kind of better than the film versions, so I was quite impressed with their choice of that. But yeah, they all look a bit weird in
like Captain America just looks like a weird fat man on this. Like, he looks nothing like Chris Evans. Like, he doesn't look like he's in shape at all. It's bizarre. And Thor as well. He's just, I don't know. Some bad choices were made in the design of that game.
Speaking of that game, though, I saw something about like some vague, very much a reach of a conclusion here, but that Crystal Dynamics might be being acquired. Like Xbox tweeted out something about like a fortune teller or whatever, and then Xbox Game Pass, and then Xbox replied something about my crystal ball and something about Cloud, which also made people say it's the Final Fantasy VII remake coming to it. But yeah, I don't know. It feels a bit.
They're currently working on Perfect Dark, aren't they? With the Initiative.
Yeah, I guess they're just supporting studio though, right?
Yeah, but like the Initiative's only, it's a tiny studio, isn't it? It's only like
it's only like 100 something, 150.
Yeah. So I think the idea is they come up with the ideas and the main concept, and then they just they actually get developers on board to make the game. Then the same with is it IO, the one who do Hitman?
Yeah, IOI.
Yeah, that's the one. They keep getting linked with potentially getting purchased, and they're meant to be working on an Xbox exclusive game as well, aren't they?
The GoldenEye game or something. Or Project Dragon, yeah.
Though the GoldenEye game is that's.
I think that's multiplat or.
There was a like an Xbox achievement list leaked or something, but
some devs unlocked achievements at the beginning of January, didn't they? Which kind of put on everyone's radar.
Which would be cool, I guess. I don't know if you tried playing that game anytime in the last sort of 10 to 20 years. It's not good.
It's not good at all.
It handles crap. But a remake would help handle good, I guess, twin stick and all that. So
I only want to play it if they make you play it like it was on the N64. So you've got to use A, B, X, and Y to move, and you've got to aim with the left thumbstick and press right trigger if you want to do the
So you
proper
have to
aiming.
stop to do aiming. That was like such a pain.
Left trigger to shoot, right trigger to aim.
I remember that not being a problem. Like I don't remember anything feeling slow and like stopping playing that when I was a kid. But yeah, playing it later and being like, I'm having to stop to shoot something. It's really weird.
But did you know you could use 2 controllers?
Oh yeah,
My friend showed me, and I was like, "That's amazing!" So you walk the 2, and one's to aim and one's to shoot. So you don't have to stop. So you get 2 controllers, and the one thumbstick aims, and the one is to move.
I mean, that's kind of genius, but it makes a mockery of the fact that there's like, for some reason, 3 handles on that controller, and you're only going to use out of 2 controllers, like 1 handle each.
Yeah, that sounds like something PlayStation would do nowadays. Like $10 upgrade, you can use 2 controllers at the same time.
Muppets, yeah, says he hates it on the N64, and then apologizes.
Yeah, I did think that's very common of me.
I want to do something a bit different a sec. So you guys have probably seen this on Twitter, but there's a guy called Kirk, and he has some amazing products he makes. Now, this isn't me plugging something that we're selling, as I will explain in this awful commercial I recorded for him. I am not sponsored at all, but I think they're pretty cool. So I'll quickly run this little video to help him out, and link to his products in the description if I've done it right. If not, sorry, I'll put them there later.
Excited.
Looking for something truly epic to celebrate your love of gaming, then I recommend checking out Frame a Game from Kirk. The examples that he's provided here for me to show with you are exquisite. I'm a big Halo Infinite and Gears fans, and as you can see in these selection, they're really well represented. For you PlayStation fans, you've also got the Horizon series here, and everybody loves a bit of Grand Theft Auto. Maybe not the recent ones. I've linked the details below. I do not get any kickback from these sales at all, but I thought they were so cool. I just wanted to share with everybody. So, like I said, check out the link in the description. Thank you. There we go. That was for Frame a Game, and they are pretty cool. Like, if I hadn't promised my wife I'll stop buying stuff this year after my statue arrived, I would get one and put it on the wall. But, yeah, I value life, so I'm going to give it a pass this year.
What's great about that was the, you know, I'm not sponsoring this tour, it's not sponsored, and then it cut to the video and it was your voice, and I was like, hang on a minute. Yeah, they're really cool. Like him. I saw you talking to that person or retweeting some of their things the other day, and it was pretty cool collectible to have.
He did message me. I sent him the video earlier today, and he said, "Note for self: make the video landscape next time." I was like, "Yeah, I'll probably work better next time." But no, I think they're very cool. He does. I don't think I said they're on their custom ones as well. So if there's a game you want, he'll go out and find it and get it all made up and stuff. But yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, those are really nice. I think they look cool too with the steelbook case in them as well.
I want to get that Blood on the Sands version, because that game's already expensive enough. So if you can get me a copy of that, then
oh my god, how much would Blood on the Sands cost to get in there?
I don't know how much the frames are, but I think the game costs $120 at the moment. So it's an okay game, by the way. If anyone's ever not played it, you'd be shocked to find out 50 cents game is actually good. But no, it's all right.
Also, this came up the other night, but I'm glad Muppets mentioned it again. Gary Oldman is called from The Fifth Element. He wants his hair cut back. Thank you.
For it's worth, I like your haircut.
I need the plastic patch by here, I do, coming around and sorted. Also, a fantastic movie that I'm sure they did a game of that, didn't they? I don't think it was very good. But...
Is that the one with the seashells, Fifth Element?
Oh no, that's Demolition Man. Fifth Element is Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
And Mila Mihajlovic, whoever her name is. How do you pronounce the name?
Yeah, is that not the one with the freeze? I thought that was the same one. No, is that one with the all access pass though, and the girl with the crazy hair?
Multipass.
Yeah, 'cause I see that
Yeah.
with Game Pass memes quite a lot.
And Chris Tucker as well.
Yeah, Chris Tucker's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. He's really funny in there. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I have to try and
Not a
rewatch.
great
I'm
game.
sure I watched it as a kid, but
You should
times are
watch
old.
it. You appreciate it more as you get older.
Yeah.
Especially
I would have understood
Demolition Man as
nothing
well.
of what's going on when I was a kid, I'm sure.
Demolition Man was way ahead of his time. You watch it now and you're like, shit, yeah, a lot of that's actually happening. So,
we're living in this dystopia. Great.
yeah, exactly.
And just back to that buyout for Bungie again, quickly. People saying about it being, really expensive for what they kind of getting for it. I still think it's definitely going to be a good investment in the long run if they've got people that now have the skills to set up that live service games. But also, did you not think Activision felt a bit pricey? I know there's a lot in Activision, but someone's spending like 79 billion or something.
Yeah,
that does feel like a lot of money.
For them, it's more the mobile stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. They did pay, I think it was like $60, $80 over more per stock than it was market value. So they
For
definitely
Activision,
did. Oh, yeah, for Activision.
Yeah, so Activision was 95 prior to all the sexual harassment stuff coming out, and then it dropped to the 60s and 70s, didn't it? And then they still paid 95 for each
them.
share. Yeah,
that's
so they paid for what they paid
for them, really.
Yeah,
get their money back from all that horrible press coverage they'd got.
Yeah, that's a good reward. Look at all this terrible stuff you did. We'll pay you what you were worth back then.
He also people saying about like Bobby Kodak or whatever his name is, just needs to he'll be fired or whatever, but I just don't see that he's gonna leave the game industry. He should, but he's gonna have so much money from this. I feel like he's gonna set up his own studio or do something in it and won't go away because I don't think he's self-aware enough to realize he needs to fuck off.
I feel like EA would be the type of person to hire Bobby Kotick back on into gaming.
Maybe Ubisoft can hire him to improve their image.
Or Atari. Yeah, Atari are real scumbags at the moment. A shell of themselves.
I didn't know they still existed.
It's not really Atari. Some hedge fund group bought the rights to the name Atari and everything Atari used to own. They're now, we mentioned it on a show the other night. They're now selling these things called SFTs. So they're NFTs, but they're surprises because you don't know what you're getting. So they're loot box NFTs. And the way they're advertising it is this is the hallmark card for a new generation. So you're meant to buy this for your other half for Valentine's, and the box doesn't open till Valentine's. And then when it unlocks, you own an NFT of something that used to be Atari, and you don't know what till it opens.
Do you know what? I don't care for an NFT at all, but I do like a surprise box, and this kind of now has me intrigued. I love paying for something I don't know what I'm getting, so then it's just a nice little present for myself.
I was saying, I can imagine my wife's face. I didn't get you a card, but here's a small Atari token that you can do nothing with.
It might be worth something in the future. It might be worth nothing in the future.
Yeah. Either way, a polar bear is going to die. Be happy.
Yeah.
That's what I've always wanted.
Muppet says Bobby Kotick should, or Kotick, or his name, should take his money and do a John McAfee.
Do you know what John McAfee's done, by the way?
I don't know what he's done. I just remember he lost the plot and ran away with lots of money for a while.
Ran off with his boat, and just was sailing around, tweeting about it or putting on his blog, whilst running from the police. He was crazy guy. I like him.
He's the one that did the virus protection, right?
Yeah. So he created that originally, and then it got kind of taken off his hands, but still kept his name to it. He had a video, he released a video of how to remove McAfee from your computer, and it's just him shooting a computer. So I don't know what he's done, if he's done anything particularly wrong or whatever, but he's one of those really eccentric rich people, and it's kind of hilarious.
McAfee is a virus in itself.
Yeah,
ironic.
Well, Bobby Kotick, he set up Activision, didn't he? He's been there from the start. He's one of the first couple of founding members. So I imagine he might just do that again, because he's gonna get some serious money, right? He's getting 200 odd million, isn't he, for a payoff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
290 million.
He makes 100 odd million a year until he goes, and then does has for the last few years. So he's got to be a billionaire. How much does it cost to set up a AAA studio? Really, it's
Like less than that, I'd imagine.
a lot
Like
less,
really?
yeah.
You're
That's what I
really
mean.
just it's really just the budget for the game. You're just paying developers at that point.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I mean. Like, even though everyone wants him to just leave and not come back into gaming, I just don't see that happening. He'll get kicked out of Activision. He'll probably set up his own studio, and we'll just continue to hate him and buy his games.
Yeah.
So Fimba is saying that there's been a COD tweet or something teasing something. He mentioned it earlier, and he said, "I wonder what this new COD review will be like." I imagine it's the dead of COD on Xbox One and PS4. Is that the? It was like an exclusive zombies mode, wasn't there? On
I
the
think
Xbox One?
Infinity Wards is teasing their new Call of Duty that they're releasing this year.
Okay.
They've been making tweets about it.
When someone's in there, it's just gonna be a new gen exclusive, like current new gen.
Yeah. So what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna release Modern Warfare 2, which will be next gen exclusive or current gen, and they're gonna reboot Warzone 2 or Warzone, and then call it Warzone 2, and that'll be current gen exclusive.
Should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't played Warzone for quite a while. And I played COD Cold War. I played the campaign there and I actually enjoyed it. Especially the last 2 levels. They were trippy. It was really good. And then I just had no interest in Vanguard at all. I really didn't fancy going back to World War II again.
Yeah.
And I saw the reviews and I was like, I'm glad. One of my brothers actually got it, and all he would send me is videos of loading into multiplayer and nothing loading correctly. So like just no assets had loaded, and everything's just blocks and
Yeah,
no
multiplayer
textures
is
and stuff.
bugged.
Yeah,
They really dropped
he's
the
played
ball
on
on that,
Series
didn't
X as well. So
Yeah. I'm just hoping with Warzone 2 they finally add a FOV slider to Warzone.
yes,
Because they haven't had one for years, and it's like we're in we are in year 2 of Series X and PS5, and there's still no like next gen update for these consoles. Like what's going on?
it's the only thing we didn't have to wait for in Halo Infinite. There is a field of
Yeah.
view slider, but I didn't realize I was playing the campaign and multiplayer, and when I was watching people's videos, they could see their legs, and mine were never in there. And I was like, well, there must be something wrong. I said, even in the beta, I never had my legs showing. And somebody said, yeah, as soon as you adjust the field of view slider, it makes your body and your legs disappear.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm guessing they must warp and not look quite right. So they remove it.
Just removal.
Yeah. Your reticle also gets smaller, which is kind of hilarious when you increase the FOV in Halo. Makes it even harder as a console player.
Yeah. I think I play on 95. So I zoom it out a bit. But I'm tempted just to put it all the way in one day to see what kind of hell that is as you're walking around looking through like a 40-degree angle.
It's like seeing the universe for the first time.
Seen Thimberlair talking about Ghostwire Tokyo. So there's a reveal of there's like a showcase of that on probably at the moment, but I'll probably watch that tomorrow. But yeah, with some more details of it and when it's coming out. So yeah, March 25th. So presumably, hopefully March 25th ish for Xboxes the following year.
Yeah, I think that Deathloop were 1 year exclusive, weren't they?
Yeah, that's what it meant to be. And I shoot because like with Final Fantasy Remake, they had like a year exclusivity, but then they release Intergrade and that extends it. But because these are, of course, Bethesda Studio games, I can't imagine they're going to allow it to extend the contract further than they have to. Yeah,
unless there's something in there saying we have an option for 1 or 2 years.
Just pull the rug. Just take the hit. Get sued. It's fine.
Yeah.
Microsoft make it an Xbox exclusion on the very day before it comes out.
It's amazing
I'm sorry.
If the deal doesn't go through for Activision, the amount of money Xbox has got to pay is roughly the same as what they bought Bungie for. So
yeah,
it's an insane amount of money. But if this deal doesn't go through, you're giving us $3 billion.
Giving who $3 billion? Like
Xbox have got to give Activision $3 billion.
3 billion.
right?
And
Okay.
if Activision get a better offer and decide to go with that, they've got to pay Xbox $3 billion or Microsoft $3 billion.
Right. Okay. So that's just the kind of like if someone backs
Like
out
the deposit,
deposit,
yeah.
Yeah. Bobby's like,
see.
I got 200 odd million coming, but if this doesn't work out, I've got $3 billion coming. So it's a win-win for Bobby, you know.
But yeah, like what's the fella at the head of Microsoft? I think he put out a statement saying like it's shouldn't be any problem. I know he's the guy that's trying to buy it.
Oh, Satya Nadella.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Said
I don't know if you guys follow Hoaglaw on Twitter.
Yeah. He's really funny.
He's very funny. He actually he's also very informational, because he handles like big firm law and all that and whatnot. So he actually made a video about the Activision deal, and in this video, you guys should check it out. Hoaglaw on YouTube. He
Hoaglaw just quickly.
Hoaglaw, so Hoeglaw.
Yeah, they had him on the Iron Lords podcast the week before last, and he's brilliant on that. He's really, really clever but funny as well.
Yeah. He actually explains in the video how there's like very little chance that this deal won't go through.
Yeah,
and that the FTC looking at it is just it's normal, it's procedure,
course, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big old deal like this, they would have to get involved. I imagine they get involved quite a lot of much smaller deals, like or even the Sony one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, I know Finn was mentioning here, Satya was saying that the deal's pretty secure. He went as far as to say in an interview today that he thinks it'll go through with no concessions needing to be made. So they won't have to promise COD being multi-plat or breaking away a couple of the divisions. As far as he's concerned, it'll go straight through.
Good.
Which I imagine he's, if anyone's going to know, he's a bit more knowledgeable than these people on Twitter who are like, Monopoly.
Monopoly. It's very far from it, especially if you consider Microsoft just a couple years ago only had 5 studios. They had only up to look forward to.
Yeah. He made a good point as well, where he said Microsoft is the only one in the content space not locking down. So he said, like with Apple, you can only buy it from the Apple store. With Epic Games, they're now locking it behind the Epic Games store. He said, but with Microsoft, you have Windows, and they run both Epic and Steam and the Windows store. They don't lock it down. You can buy your games wherever you want.
I guess the thing is you also own, like you can buy on other stores, but those other stores are still running on Windows, which is another one of your products, so they don't really get any loss at any point.
Yeah. He was trying to say, in terms of people saying Monopoly, they're the only one not locking it down. They'll allow all these storefronts to operate, whereas like on your PlayStation, your Xbox, or your Nintendo, if you're buying digital, you buy it through their store at their price. You don't have
that's a pain in the ass. You can't also buy it as gifts for people, because I've tried getting my partner things that are like on the digital store. On the PlayStation, and you can't do it. The only way to do it
it's impossible almost.
Points. Yeah, and it's crazy. It's like Xbox or Steam or whatever. If you want to send someone a gift, it's easy.
Yeah, I know. Ash had a problem trying to sign up for PS Now because they were doing that get 6 months free offer. And then when you go on the website, it's grayed out, so you can't actually select it. So annoying. They keep advertising it. Yeah. Keep advertising it so much, and then you try to actually join up, and it's like, this doesn't exist.
It's always maintained, and I've got to have a level of non-biasness from just the whole. We do news and stuff on anything, and I'm generally like, I'll play any kind of thing. I typically play my Xbox though. I do have a PS5 in the house, but like when people are being bought out, I'm always a little bit more happy when it is Microsoft and Xbox buying it, because I feel like that locks it down to more. You still got PC, you still got a mobile, you still got.
It's more accessible.
Xbox. Exactly. Whereas when PlayStation buys something up, it's like, shit,
I'm gonna
need a PlayStation.
Get a PlayStation.
Yeah. Which is why they do it, of course. But it does. As a consumer, anyway, I'd rather have it on more places.
Is their strategy changing? Because they've been talking about going beyond the box now, and then they've bought Bungie and let them put it wherever they want. Maybe they're starting to go the Xbox approach and slowly release games, and like MLB's in Game Pass again.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's always
every
fun,
year
isn't it?
from now on.
Yeah, so they're
And
putting,
it's on Switch.
yeah. God, that's going to be streaming, isn't it? It's not going to run native,
Oh,
surely.
definitely.
Yeah.
It'll probably look like MLB 02 if it had to be downloaded.
Yeah, I remember the FIFA games on the Switch never changed. They
Oh,
released one, and every year they'd release just a reskin every year and charge you full price.
I'm pretty sure in like Brazil or somewhere they have like. In fact, where's the Brazilian friends? They might be able to answer this. Like, they release N64 FIFA cartridges or Mega Drive or something like that. Maybe Mega Drive. But yeah, you'll still get the latest FIFA games, but obviously not the same graphics as a current
Yeah.
FIFA. But yeah, they'll release like FIFA 22, but on a Mega Drive, which I just think is really cool that they're still keeping that kind of alive.
it's funny because in Brazil, a lot of gamers there, they actually end up doing a lot of modding because a lot of games aren't available there or either they're too expensive. So the game shops will sell like their own versions of games, like modded versions, or they'll sell like, Sonic, but it's like the Avengers in it, and it's kind of funny, but
I love all those modded games because some reason Thomas the Tank Engine always turns up.
yeah.
No matter what game it is, Thomas is coming for you,
I hope that remains that way forever. In 1,000 years'
Yeah.
time, when all the VR games are coming out, there's still mod groups just putting Thomas in stuff.
Thomas will survive.
There's that horror game, that indie horror game with
Choo
that
Choo
train that's
Charles.
chasing you. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Scorn?
fantastic.
Oh, Choo Choo Charles, yeah,
Yeah,
that
train with spider legs chased after
Yeah.
you. Horrific.
Yeah, that looks
Um,
great.
I saw a thing with Scorn actually the other day. Just as you mentioned, Scorn, they're like, because that kind of went, that was advertised kind of heavily
Yeah.
from Xbox thing, and then it kind of
Got
disappeared a lot.
delayed. Yeah.
But I did see that their Twitter being active and actually
they're posting
pushing out
gameplay,
stuff.
so
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
quite a good sign.
finally.
It's one of these games that I'm kind of excited to play, but it also really looks gross. Like it looks so disgusting, and that's
Yeah,
what it's
it's so
going
obscure.
for. But it's like, don't know how much I can put up with that.
They put a 12-minute gameplay out before, and it just looked so boring. But I'm so excited for the game because I love the art style that I want to play it. But man, they just, it looked so just boring to play.
It was like
12
stomping around
12
slowly,
minutes.
occasionally shooting stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think first person was the smart idea for the direction of that game.
Or if they're not making it like, because it's a shooter rather than like a survival horror, really. So
Yeah.
it might suit with if it's dull and there's not that many baddies and such. Make it one where you are sneaking around and.
I like more shooting in my
little animal.
shooters. That's my
Mm.
problem.
It kind of reminds me of that it was a game similar to that where it had more of a like hellish theme to it. Didn't do too well because it was the same thing. It was pretty boring. I forgot the name of it though, but
So what was this game? Sorry, it was like you're in hell and
it's like it was
not
like
a shooter.
Scorn. It's like survival horror. It was like Scorn, but like it had a hellish theme to it.
Yeah.
And it didn't do too well, but it was kind of the same problem. It was pretty boring.
Not the original Prey, was it?
No, it came out recently, like a few years ago. I'll have to look it up.
There's one called like Ascension or something. Is what I think.
Ascension. I feel like that's what it's called.
Yeah, and it's like a grotesque. You're in hell, but it's just more sneaky around. You're not shooting anything, I don't think.
No, it's like you have fireballs or whatever. But
I remember the game. Yeah.
You kind of like a Dante's Inferno, but not fun.
First person, not fun.
Yeah.
That Ascension one looked graphically good, and it looked quite messed up. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it looked really messed up, and you're walking through hell and stuff.
Grossly so, yeah.
But yeah, apparently it was just really boring.
I watched a playthrough of it on YouTube like a while back, and yeah, I think you fly at the end or something and go and fight the devil or whatever. But other than that,
Spoilers for chat again.
Sorry. Every time it pops up every now and then in like a sale on Xbox, and it's like £1 or whatever, and I get tempted with it. But then you look at the reviews and it's just horrendous. So I'm like,
I've played some pretty bad games. Like, I'm quite lucky. I get a lot of like games sent for review, and some of them are pretty good or okay. But every now and then I get a game, and I'm like, this is just pretty bad. But I still stick with it. I know Ash, who is on the main podcast. I got a game the other day, and I've put about 2.5, 3 hours into it for a review. And it says compare with friends, and he's the only other person who's played it, and he's played 1 minute of the game. Which tells you all you need to know about what he thought of the game.
I was asking Ash a while, last time after this show, where he's getting all his codes from. Like we've been sent a couple as like a company and whatnot, but I signed up to Press Engine, so I should start getting a few more of those through. But
yeah,
don't know how he gets so many of these things.
Anybody looking to get like indie game codes, or sometimes they give out the bigger ones as well. Because I had ones from Curve Digital. I've had quite a few of their games like Space Crew and stuff like that, which I really enjoyed. Key Mailer is the one.
Key Mailer.
Key Mailer. Yeah, they're really good. You don't need a huge following on that to get games sent to you.
Oh, nice.
I had Summertime Madness sent to me recently. I get a lot from a publisher called Sometimes You, and I've gotten really into some of their games, such as In Rays of the Light and Summertime Madness is the best game I've played. I haven't spoilers because I haven't put my review up yet. Because I'm still playing the last couple of levels, but it's the best game I've played so far this year. And I've played, I've started Ori, Hitman, and catch up on a lot of my backlog. But this is the game that's sticking out so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Amazing. What was that called?
Summertime Madness. It's a puzzle game, a bit like it's a first-person puzzle game, but it's just bizarre. Like the scope on the levels are huge. It has portals. It's got just everything going on. Like
that In the Rays of Light you mentioned, is that not horror? Because I've seen that in the game store, Xbox Game Store before. So it looks creepy. So like I've not.
There's no combat. That's another puzzle game. It's literally just you wake up somewhere and you've got to figure out what's going on.
Is it scary in any way? Is it just
There's one bit that because I'm not very good at horror games either, but there was one bit on there where you're walking through this tunnel and you've got to try to find your way out, and the sirens going off and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is a bit creepy for me. But
but nothing can get
a 5-minute section. There's no enemies. You meet no one else. There's nothing.
I can deal with that
to worry about. But yeah, it's good. And you get a different ending depending on how you play the game as you go. But they're really good.
That's cool. It's more of a atmosphere horror game.
Yeah.
I like those. They're the horror games I can deal with where there's no actual peril involved. You just
it's more psychological.
Stuff jumps out. I've been playing like some of the indie demos that have been on Steam. I played Everything Is for Humanity the other week, and like I put a clip up on our TikTok of just it's one of those like, okay, fuck my dignity, I guess, because of this is the content, and I just screamed in such a horribly blood-curdling, girly way. Like, I can't deal with things getting me.
Muppet has said Reboot Fear. That's a great shout because those games are fantastic. And also Another Condemned. Now, I had a 360 set up in a basement where I lived with a couple of mates at the time. I was like early 20s. And I had a surround sound set up in the beams above where we were in the basement, sofa, 90-inch projector, amazing. And I was playing Condemned one night with my mate, and we could hear something behind us constantly, and every time I turned around in the game there was nothing there, and then moving through the sewer and you could hear like a can or something rattling behind me and nothing there. And then I got to the bit where you walk down a ladder, and as I turned around, the guy had obviously caught up with me and was literally stood there as I turned around. He filled the whole screen. Oh, I shit myself. Through my controller and everything. I was like, Jesus Christ, like that. Those games, they're another one where it's just the atmosphere it builds up is really kind of like claustrophobic and gets on top of you. I tried that Visage, that game. I literally, I did the beginning. I walked down the stairs. I got by the front door, and I was like, no, I can't play more of this. I played about 20 seconds. I was like, I can't. This is too much for me.
I forced Riku to play it for our Halloween events, and yeah, there's like a bit where you're walking through kind of, they're not mannequins, they're just people with no real features, and you have to like do the whole, like in Silent Hill film when they have to sneak past all the nurses.
Yeah.
Without touching them, is like that. And then once you get the fingers at the other ends, and like once you're back through, they all start chasing after you, and it's absolutely horrific. Like
I played 40 minutes of Made of Scare because I wanted to play it because it's a game like based in Wales, isn't it? All about like Welsh folklore, and it's a horror. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Man, that game is too much for me. But now they've got a new mode on there now where it's like next gen enhanced, and you have guns and you can fight back and run around and shoot the people who are chasing you in the other one. That is more tempting for me now because those bastards scared the shit out of me. So
game was quite accessible. It has a mode where you don't have bad guys in it.
Did it?
Yeah, and but the thing is, right, I tried playing that because I wanted to get the story, but it really does take away absolutely any of the kind of point of it when there's no one to avoid and nothing happening. So yeah, it wasn't good. I didn't get too far into it because I was just kind of bored. Even though I know if I had people, I'd be too terrified to play it. So
yeah,
I'm definitely more of an observer when it comes to horror games.
Yeah, I think I'll go back and try it now with the guns. And I didn't know there was a mode without enemies, so I might do it just for the story because the story was quite good to start with. It was pulling me in a bit. But yeah, another terrifying game. I don't know. Have you ever tried that one, Vinny? Made of Scare?
No, I have not actually. I'm not super big into horror games. I mean, occasionally I'll play them, but for the most part, I usually stick to either narrative games, or most of the time it's multiplayer games like Halo or Yu-Gi-Oh! As of recently.
I don't think I've ever played a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or watched a Yu-Gi-Oh! To be honest. I know of them. It's not something I've ever really got into. But
well, there's a review coming out of the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game on next Wednesday on robot-republic.com. So keep an eye out for
that. I love that new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, Master Duels. It's like one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Games I've ever played.
Yeah, the right.
Granted, I've only played two.
Like it, so.
All right, guys, we've hit our hour. I've got to head into the office to work tomorrow for the first time in a long time. Yeah. So I'm going to, 11 p.m. Amazing there. So if you guys want to let everyone know where we can find you, I think we'll wrap it up there for the evening.
Yeah, you want to go for it, Vinny?
Yeah. You guys can find me on Twitter currently at HawaiianGuy808, or just search up USOVINNY, USOVINNY. I'm usually the first person that pops up with the same profile picture as you see on the screen.
Okay, and yeah, as you can see, wrong one. There you go. That's our Twitter. But yeah, go check out YouTube /Robot Republic and drop a follow or whatever it's called on Twitter, on YouTube. It really helps, and we really would appreciate it. So if you're listening and you're not already subscribed, dive over there and do that.
Awesome. What I need to start doing is actually linking my YouTube channel in the description because I keep forgetting to do that. So everyone's watching and like go into XBL. Call me. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to everyone in chat. And yeah, the XBL USA will be on in 3 hours' time for anyone who's still up and fancies watching that. And they're doing a giveaway of 2 games tonight as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's almost worth trying to stay up to like 2 a.m. for.
Bob's feeling flush. Right. Thanks all.
Catch you there.
Thank you. See ya.